Hey guys, Doc. Oh, I'm a little bit tired. I'm a little bit sluggish. I actually went for the first time. I went hunting for the first time this morning over at the farm property. Watched a whole bunch of deer all morning. Then I went over and did a couple things, but the house is coming along nice. But we're doing certain things that are important that maybe apply to you. And what I'm talking about is if you have any bare spots on your lawn, and I'm talking about almost raw dirt. So if you have dead spots or raw dirt, there's something you can do now to help improve the soil. So without dragging this out, let me just tell you, first of all, if you haven't watched any of Gabe Brown's videos, in the description below, I'm going to put a page. I'm going to have several links on there. One of the links is going to be Gabe's videos, and he talks about regenerative farming. Gabe is renowned for the past 15 years about how he has taken his soils from crap all the way up to some of the healthiest soils that are out there now. And couple of the rules are, number one, we always either have armor on the ground or we have roots in the ground. One of those two things. So we never want to leave bare dirt, because what ends up happening? The whole life cycle, the whole biology inside that soil just simply dies. And that's what we're dealing with on our fields over there, is those fields, they've just been abandoned for years, and so we're having to go back there as fast as we can and get roots in the ground, get armor on the ground. Even that area behind the house that I'm working on seeding, same thing over there. There's a couple things you can do. Number one, you can start putting down humichar. Now during the summertime, I like to put down dirt booster because good mycorrhizal fungi, organic matter, and it has humichar inside of it. But now that the temperatures are cooling, we want to switch over to humichar. We don't want to be putting down dirt booster. We only want to use dirt booster when the temperatures are warm and the good fungus that's in it can thrive. So now we want to switch over to putting down humichar, and we're putting carbon into the soil, number one. Number two, get some annual ryegrass. And if you have some annual ryegrass, not perennial, annual ryegrass, if you have any dirt areas that are raw dirt, I want you to seed it and then pick up some wheat straw and put some wheat straw over it. Then water it and it'll germinate. The great thing about annual ryegrass is it'll pretty much germinate anywhere. I always say you can throw it on a parking lot and water it and it'll germinate. But we want to get those roots in the ground. We want to start to create some kind of life within that soil, some type of roots. And then come springtime, we'll have a better chance of either pushing our Bermuda into that or maybe seeding something or whatever lawn you have. But doing that now is perfect. So what I'm gonna do today, I don't have a real big plan for today because I've got so much video that we shot. Behind our house, we've done 2 or 3 seedings and having a horrible time getting it to establish. We finally got it to establish, but there's still, I would say about 40-50% is still dirt, even though I've got good establishment. So what I'm gonna do is Ryan and I, we're gonna go over and cut that. Then we're going to put down some annual ryegrass on top of what we already have, and then we're going to put down some wheat straw. We're doing the same thing on our vegetable gardens. Now in our vegetable gardens, if you watch our videos, we went over there, we got some manure, we created these rows. We're going to put down some dirt booster because we're going to be putting heavy wheat straw over those rows. But then the rest of the place, anywhere on that farm property that I see dirt, what we're doing is we're putting down annual ryegrass, and we're putting down wheat straw. Now this is a big job. I mean, I've got John and one of his guys, Ryan and I are out there doing it. So we're having to do all those fields. We're having to do all the lawns because there's so much raw dirt out there that we don't want. One of the big problems we've got right now is we are in a horrible drought. I went back and looked. I think it was Weather Underground has a calendar. You can go back and look. For the whole month of September, we're in October, for the whole month of September, I think we had 0.6 inches of rain. I mean, we had almost nothing. And since that time, the whole month of October, no rainfall whatsoever. It is, you drive down the roads and it's just dust. Everything is just dust. I have the only green yard in our neighborhood, and that's because I do my drought watering cycles. I do short watering cycles. Every morning I do a short water cycle every morning, and my lawn is beautiful. It's green, and everyone else's lawn in this whole neighborhood is solid brown. If you have raw dirt, if you have dead areas that are just dead, even if you have areas that are under trees that just are real crappy, you can actually go in there with ryegrass, a little bit of wheat straw, water it, and that stuff will grow. You also, during the winter time, there are 2 things that we talk about in the lawn guide that you can do And that is, number one, you put down Humichar. Number two, you can do your pH adjustments. That's the perfect time to do your pH adjustments. I'm almost at the point of putting down pre-emergent. I'll do a video on that. If you know me, I like to wait as long as possible. I really don't have a weed problem, but I want to be right at that point with my pre-emergent that my lawn is about to go dormant and that poena is about to come out. So that's where my timing is on that. So I'll take you out. I'll cut up this video as best I can. I don't have any video of us doing the big fields putting wheat straw, but I'll show you us cutting the grass on the backyard over there, putting down some wheat straw, and then doing the same thing on the vegetable gardens. Here we go. So you hear a bunch of sawing. They're actually out there. They're cutting out the window openings for all the windows right now. But what I'm going to do today is, why am I cutting this short? Well, if I'm going to put out wheat straw, it really needs to be short, because if I just put out wheat straw on this, it's just going to fold over this grass. So if you ever put out any wheat straw on top of a newer grass like this, you're going to want it pretty short. I'm going to use my Ego. I originally bought this for the beach house, but it wouldn't cut short enough. It only cuts down to about 1.5 inches, somewhere around there. And that's just not low enough for the zoysia down there, so I had to go with a reel mower. So I really haven't used this thing. But I'm going to be using it back here, depending on the type of grass we have. So that's what I'm doing. But you can see how much bare ground we have here. And the ruts that we have are actually growing strong because they're holding that moisture. And then these upper parts are just bare. So you can see over here, it actually is not bad looking over here, but like I said, because we're dipping into the 40s, this ain't gonna work. Looks great right now, but in a couple weeks, a lot of this stuff is going to just sort of fade out. Especially if there's any Bermuda in here, it's going to just absolutely fade out. So we're going to come in here, wheat straw, annual ryegrass, pound it down, pray for rain. Almost forgot to record this. So basically, I've got Pennington. I bought at Lowe's, Pennington annual ryegrass, and we're just hand broadcasting. We do the field so much, we can broadcast seed by hand really well. So we're just going to go through, and all we're going to do is we're just going to just lightly, you sort of hold it into your chest and grab a handful and then make it snow. That's how we're going to do it. That's exactly what you do. So you hold it in your chest. I was teaching the guys, we did the fields the other day, and basically you grab a handful and you make it snow. That's what you're trying to do. So, and you're just putting a light coat on, because if you take this and if you start to shake it and tear it apart, what you're going to get is you're going to get a bunch of clumps falling out. So that's why you hold it like this, grab a piece, and then shake it and make it snow. That's how you put out wheat straw on a nice, even basis. Oh, wow, that was a pain in the ass. I'm guessing this yard is probably about 5,000 square feet. How many bales was it?
6.
So 6 to do a light spread on it. But when it's done, it's actually kind of rewarding to look at it. So there she is. She's all spread out. Took us probably about an hour to do this whole thing and about 6 bales to lightly coat it. My main thing and what he's doing, Ryan's doing right now, is he's going back looking for areas that actually show dirt. So if he sees dirt, like right here, here's one. There's one right here where I can see the dirt. I need to come back and put more wheat straw on there. And we put it on light enough that the current grass can actually push up through. The new seed can push up through, but any place where we have bare dirt, we're actually doing it fairly heavy. So, especially in a drought condition, this is just absolutely necessary right now. We have no rain. Okay, so this is the last step in our winterizing of our new vegetable garden over here. So our soils here, when they dry out, they are hard as rocks. It's basically silt, sediment, clay, sand. And like I said, you can take a screwdriver and you can't get a screwdriver into the ground. Lacking a bunch of organic matter. So number one rule, roots are armor on the ground at all times. So here's what we're doing to this new vegetable garden. All we're gonna have to do is just plant in here next year and we're done. We took some of the old barn crap manure and then we brought in some chicken manure. We put it on these rows, we tilled, and then we raked it all into these little rows here. Mixed in dirt booster and then raked it up into these rows. And that's what we've got. I've put down some winter rye. And now what I did, I have a couple bags of dirt booster left that I'm not going to use because you don't want to really put it on your lawn if the temperatures are cooling, because the mycorrhizal fungi, that whole digestive process won't take place. But here, since we've got these piles stacked up and we're going to be putting hay on top, I might also go ahead and put it here instead of move it and store it all winter long. So what we're doing is we're putting dirt booster down on top of these, and then we're taking wheat straw and we're going to cover these over with wheat straw and just sort of create that warm sort of bed, and it'll sit here all winter long and all we'll have to do is just plant. When you're putting this down, Ryan, you know, maybe 2 inches thick on here. And then what we're going to have to do is we're probably going to have to put some water on it. Otherwise, this stuff will just all blow away. So we'll come up here, we'll run the hoses, and we'll water this and wet it down a little bit. All right, so we have got all these rows covered with about 2 inches, pretty heavy. And now what we're going to do, since we still have some bales left, we're going to come back and we're going to just lightly cover the dirt in between here. Let me show you over here. We're not trying to cover it all. We're just putting down a light coat of straw on here. Again, armor and roots on the ground. So there's ryegrass germinating in here. We'll put down a little bit of hay, and that should actually be perfect for in here. And then we got, probably next month we'll come in here, we're going to start the fencing project. We got to fence this whole thing in, but we can't just do it with a 4-foot fence. We got to put a 4 fence, and then we got to put something on top of it to keep the deer from jumping it. So that was definitely a long couple of days. So we ended up cutting the backyard over there. We put down the ryegrass. We put wheat straw on top. Then we went and on the fields, we did the same thing on the fields. We already had ryegrass down, and we put heavy cover on the rows. We put light cover on the soil. And then John and his guy came and did that whole upper field and part of the lower field. So that was like, it was 2 days worth of just taking care of that soil up there. And you guys should do the same thing. So if you have any raw dirt, if you have any bare spots, get some cover and get some roots on the ground. The next thing you'll start doing is start putting out some humichar. This time of year, we want to just put humichar. You can put it down every single month, and we're just trying to load carbon into the soil. Load carbon, load carbon, load carbon. The other thing, this is the time of year that you're going to start to look at any pH adjustments and then pre-emergent. My next video is going to be pre-emergent. I'm sending Ryan down to the beach house for a couple days, and the temperatures down there are probably 10 degrees warmer than they are here, and it's zoysia, so he's going to put down some PGF balance, a 10-10-10, so the lawn can go to sleep with nutrients. And the next thing he's going to do is he's going to put out pre-emergent down there for me. So I'm sending him down there to do that because I got too much going on at the farm property. So that's it, guys. If you got bare ground, cover it up, get some roots in the ground. Hope to help. Doc.